Hi everyone, this is Jane from Crochet, and today I'm going to teach you how to crochet from the absolute beginning. We're going to start with what you need to crochet and then how to hold your hook, how to hold the yarn, and then we'll move on to making a simple chain and then doing some single crochets into the chain. For this beginner's tutorial, all you're going to need today is some yarn. I'm using a cotton 8-ply, you can use acrylic. You'll also need a crochet hook, and today I'm using a 3.5mm and a pair of scissors. When you are crocheting in the future, you might need other things such as a row counter, which I use when I'm making clothing quite often, and also stitch markers. There's quite a range of different stitch markers you can get, and it really comes down to personal preference. So there are a couple of different ways you can hold your crochet hook, and this comes down to personal preference. Some people prefer to hold it like a pencil with the hook sitting on top of the hand, and some people prefer to hold it like a dinner knife with the hook going underneath the hand. I use the knife hold when I am crocheting. When it comes to using the yarn, some people like to use the tail that's hanging out here that actually wraps around the yarn. I prefer to do the center pull method where you actually pull the middle bit out of the yarn, just because it stops the yarn from rolling around while you're working with it. So all you have to do is put your fingers into the middle of the yarn, and there's normally like a blob or chunk of yarn that you can pull out. And it's normally a bit of a tangled mess, but it gets easier once you untangle it. So then you just got to find the end of the yarn, which is there, and that will be your working end, so the end that you'll start your project with. Now I'm going to show you how to make a slip knot so you can attach the yarn to your hook. First thing we're going to do is pull the tail end of yarn through the first 2 fingers over the top, and you're going to hold the working end over your thumb and put the tail end between your finger and thumb to hold it down. Then you're going to grab the working end of your yarn, wrap it around your index finger, and you're going to hold it between your finger and thumb. Then you're going to grab this second loop on your finger, pull it up gently over the first loop and let it go, and then pull down your tails of your yarn. Then you can simply grab your hook, slide it underneath your finger, lift the loop off your finger and pull down the working end of your yarn to tighten it onto the hook. And there you've got your slip knot. So now I've got the slip knot on there, I'm just going to show you how I hold the working end of the yarn. This again can be a personal preference. I'm going to show you the way I like to do it, and I think this way really helps with keeping your tension correct. So to do it, you're just going to place the yarn over your pinky finger, wrap it around, pull it up and use your index finger just to scoop the yarn back. Close your bottom 2 fingers so it's kind of holding the yarn quite loosely, and then you're going to use your thumb and middle finger to grab hold of the tail end of the yarn, and then you're ready to go. So now I'm ready to start my chain. What I'm going to do is make sure my slip knot is towards the top of my hook. Keep my finger on that loop at the top, and then I'm going to yarn over with my yarn. I'm going to pull it through the loop that's on the hook, and it helps to keep your finger on this yarn and to move your fingers up to the next stitch as you go. So again, I'm going to yarn over, making sure that that yarn is underneath the head of the hook, and I'm going to pull it through the loop on my hook. Then I'm going to put my finger here, move my fingers up to hold it, again yarn over, pull through, just like that. Making sure I put my finger back, can readjust down here, yarn over, pull through, hold it again, yarn over, pull through. Now sometimes you might have quite loose tension like this, and all you need to do is pull this index finger back to tighten it. And again, sometimes you might have really tight tension where this is quite tight and you can't get your loop underneath it. So what you need to do then is just pull your hook up a little bit to release that tension. And you can yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through. So now I have a chain of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I'm going to do 10 and 11. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to single crochet back down my chain. To do this, you're just going to turn your work slightly in your fingers We're not going to work into this first stitch here, but we're going to work into this second. So you can see this is the bottom loop and this one up here is the top, and I'm going to actually work into that stitch, just getting the top loop onto my hook. I'm going to yarn over, pull through the loop, and then I'm going to yarn over and pull through both. I'm going to go into my next stitch, just into the top loop here. I'm going to yarn over, pull through one, holding my finger at the top, yarn over, pull through two. Now some people like to go through both of those loops. I find it easier just to go through the top one, and I think it looks pretty much the same. So yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through two. Moving into the next stitch, I'm going to insert my hook, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through two, and again inserting my hook, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through two. I'm going to hold my tail while I do this. I'm going to insert my hook, yarn over, pull through. I'm going to move my fingers to the other side and holding my work. I'm going to yarn over and pull through. Back to the tail, insert my hook, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through two. I'm going to continue this until I get to the end. So again, going into my next stitch, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through two. Insert my hook, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through two. And on my last one, I'm going to do the same, insert, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through two. So that's my first row of single crochets. Then what we're going to do is we're going to do a chain one. So wrap around your hook, pull through the loop. We're going to turn our work, and to do this we just do it like we're turning the page of a book. So flipping it over just like that. So I'll show you that again. We're flipping our work over like this. And then we're not going to work into this chain one we just did. We're going to work into this first single crochet here. So we're going to insert our hook into that first single crochet. And now you'll have what looks like two loops on the hook and this one. So we're going to yarn over and pull through those two loops, and using your finger to pull it down so it doesn't slip off the hook, yarn over, I'm going to pull through the two loops on the hook. So now we've got one. Now we're going to insert it into the next single crochet. You can see these are the bits we need to insert it into. So into your next single crochet, you can see the little V up the top there, and we're going to yarn over, pull through, and then yarn over, pull through two. Inserting into the next single crochet, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through two. And again, inserting our hook, yarn over, pull through, using your finger to hold this, yarn over, pull through two. Now these first couple of rows are the most fiddly. The longer it gets, the easier it is to work these rows. So insert your hook, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through two. Insert your hook, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through two. Now if you do by accident have the loop come off your hook, that's okay too. You can simply insert it back in to that loop. Sometimes it might come off the hook and you might pull back a stitch, and that's okay as well. Just pull out that second one and insert your hook back into that loop, and then you can just rework that single crochet stitch. So insert, yarn over, pull through, and we're going to do that all the way down. So yarn over, pull through, into the next one, yarn over, pull through, insert, yarn over, pull through. Now this last stitch sometimes is a bit tricky, and occasionally people miss it because it doesn't really look like a stitch, but on these first few rows it kind of folds over a little bit. but you can still see we've still got a V there. So we need to pick up that stitch. Now sometimes I like to turn my hook so I can use the hook end to scoop up that first one, and then I like to use my fingers just to push on that second one. So we've got the V on the hook, and we're going to do the same thing where we yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2. So now we have 2 rows of single crochet. Now you can continue making rows for as long as you want, and all you have to do is your chain 1 and going back into the single crochet that you worked the round before. So we're going to continue to do that all the way along, inserting our hook, yarning over, pulling through, and continue along. Sometimes the work gets a bit twisted, you can just untwist it with your fingers and continue working along that row. Yarn over, pull through 2. So we're just going to continue that till we get to the end of the row. Again, the more practice, the quicker you'll get, the easier it becomes. It needs to be quite repetitive when you're learning to crochet, but once you get it, it becomes like a muscle memory. So I'm going to get to the end of this row, and then I'm going to show you how I fasten off my work. Nearly there. And again, with that last stitch, sometimes it can be a bit tricky to see, but if we turn it there, there is a V that we need to work into, and we don't want to miss that last stitch because it makes our work uneven. And we're going to pull through, and you can count to make sure you've still got the same number you started with. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Which I started with 11 chains, but I didn't work into the first one on the hook, I worked into the second one, so I should have 10 along there. Now to fasten off my work, all I'm going to do is a chain 1, pull my hook up, and then I'm going to take my hook out, grab my scissors, snip inside this loop, and grab my work, pull out the tail end, and that would have finished it off there. Now you can also use a darning needle, one like this, and you can weave in your ends. You don't have to do this at the moment while you're learning, but it is something you will use when you're making clothing or tapestries. And then you can weave it in to your work just by going through some of the stitches. And it just creates a nice, neat edge. Now with this one, I'm just going to do it through a couple. And I'm going to pull my needle off and just snip off the end there. And you can do the same with this tail as well, just weave it back through the work. So it should look a little bit something like that. You can continue on, make a little scarf, a dishcloth, whatever you like. And in the next tutorial, I'll be able to show you how we can do some double crochets, treble crochets, and maybe move on to making something. If you have any ideas for tutorials you'd like me to do, please drop a comment below. And thank you so much for following along.